Kalimera, this is George from CY. I stopped the training videos for quite some time because the next chapter was a difficult one for me, and it still is. The grip. And today we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the grip. So I think this is something that I wrote some time ago, and it still holds true. The grip is a huge chapter with so many types of grip, and each person must find what suits him best for a particular body type and body condition. Grips may be, utilized because you have injuries and etc. etc. But if you can manage to be consistent in your toes, that's because you develop a unique grip to your body type and all that, and that actually helps. So I'm just going to show you one grip today. It's something that I have been working on for the past 3 months plus. So this is a three-finger grip, and it incorporates a pendulum swing in order to get dice across the table, bounce on the back walls, and then die flat. Basically, that's the idea. And it incorporates quite a few things. It's not just the release; it's actually the Let's start with the grip part. You need to develop a way of picking up the dice that is consistent every time, the same thing. And depending on that, there's going to be either a lot of consistency in the way you throw, or a lot of inconsistency in the way you throw, and the results that you're going to get. Now, grip will affect a lot of things. Grip, uneven grip, there's 3 sections to this. And I think it's best to go into the actual to show you. So I'll be using 2 different dice. It's going to be either 2-1-2-1 set, because I want to expose the 6s at the front so that you can see approximately what's going to be happening. Now, I use this book as a guide to see whether my fingers are going to be even, but we need to understand something about our actual fingers. If you put your fingers like so, you will see there is differentials in terms of where your fingers end. Now we need to make sure that using the 3-finger grip, these differentials do not exist. We need to actually make the fingers be the same length, because we're going to be grabbing the dice at the same point. I will explain, that's why I put the 6s here. If I grab the dice like so, I have automatically created differentials in terms of how this die is going to behave, the left die is going to behave, as opposed to the right die when it leaves my hands. The rotational behavior is going to be very different, simply because there's only one thing pushing them from the back. Supposedly the pendulum force is pushing them from the back. However, they're being controlled at different points of their internal axis. So we're talking about, a bit of physics here. So let's go back and let's make the mistake. Grab them like so. Do you see that the 2 dice are not going to end up the same way? So first of all, you cannot grab them and hold them properly. I'm not going to do that, I'm just going to keep them straight. So I'm going to throw just for the sake of throwing them. That's a 5-3-8. Not that it matters, what matters is that they went off axis. We started this die, this is the result. We started with this die being like so, and like so. So what happened was rotation, rotation, and explosion of my right die. So this is not what we want. Basically, we need to make all the mistakes. We need to actually make the mistakes, throw the wrong way, and then try and understand why things go wrong. It's not just developing, the grip. It's actually knowing what the grip is there for, knowing what it can do, and knowing what harm it can do if it's used wrong. So today my objective is mostly to show you what the grip is, the 3-finger grip that everybody's using, and to tell you what I have in my experience and from what people that have experience have told me is going wrong when I throw the dice. There's so many parameters to getting the perfect dice, the perfect toss, the perfect landing, the perfect result. So I'm going to start from here. I'm just going to place all my fingers straight down to create an even point of pickup, and I'm going to bring them here. Alright, now you can see better than me whether they are placed evenly across the lines, the pips of the dice, but in order for me to make sure, I'm going to come right behind here, and I see that my middle finger needs a little bit of adjustment. So I'll come back and repeat. Now my index finger needs to be adjusted. So I've been having a lot of troubles with the aces in my case, because I use a 3 reset and the ace is on this side, and this is mostly because of that. Now I can see that they actually have split, so I'm going to put them down and try again. My left was a bit higher. I think I adjusted it, but dice out. Let's see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. What I wanted was both dice to stay on axis. The left die remained on axis, the right die imploded. So if I was like so and like so, started like this, dice traveled, and then imploded. So I have overcompensated with my left for the right, so I need to have everything as it should be. Dice out. Let's check. Again, this finger here was a little bit higher than it should. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 2, 4, 4, 2, 6. So what happened here? this happened. I had an explosion of my left die. So we started like so. This one exploded outwards. Let's do it again. Let me just have some space here. Let's see. Looks good. Dice out. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And that is a 6, 2, 8. So my dice did stay on axis. Started like so. And 6, 2, 8 is here. So we don't mind single pitching. What we do mind, especially on the hardware set, is double pitching. Double pitching, I consider this to be a hardware set. Some people call these inline sixes or whatever. Double pitching on a hardware set is going to give you sevens all around. And this is something that you don't want. Now, the question is, what causes double pitching? And that is actually, the answer lies mostly, I would say mostly, in the grip. All the double pitching happens because rotations between the two dies are out of sync. And this is the issue here. This middle finger is to be 50% equally spread between the two dies. If you cannot manage to do that, then you will definitely get some sort of over rotation. I will explain. I will actually do this. I will put the middle finger. I'm going to have my fingers, square to the table. Gonna come over here, and this is an extreme example now. Dice up. That's a 1, 2, 3. They remained on axis. They remained on axis, but let's assume they were like so. But they were out of sync. Maybe I can do it again. Maybe I can actually cause the... I'll just place this one not so far apart. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And there is a 1, 6, 7. I don't know if you guys can. So let me just turn it over. 1, 6, 7. We started like so. And we had this 1, 6, 7. So that's a double pitch. And this is what's important about understanding what is happening, why it's happening, how can you correct it. It's not as easy as it sounds. It's in fact quite difficult to master this 3-finger grip. There's a lot of things that you need to work on to find something which is specifically working for you. So I just wanted you guys to have an idea of the different micro components that are so important. I am still actually coming to terms with this set, with this grip. As you can see, I'm having trouble with this die coming up or this way. So this is probably not so much to do with the grip, because I am being very careful with that. But more to do with my follow through. 1, 2, 3. Okay, there I got a 268, which is on axis a secondary hit. Don't know if you can see it. Perhaps not. This is a big angle. So 2, 6. So it's a single pitch. Start from here. 2, 6, 8. But mostly I get this when I get to the end. So this thing comes up and I get something like a 3, 2, or this thing comes up and I get like 4, 2. So that's why I always wanted to, pass on the information that I was receiving, but I was very, very reluctant to do so until I worked out what it actually means to me. Everybody keeps saying that grip is the most important thing, and I would say yes, 100% agree. The other part about grip, which I have not mentioned but everybody keeps mentioning, is this: grip has to be very light. So it has to be right at the top. The reason is, when you're actually holding the dice, you should be able to do this. Just release them by letting go with your thumb. That is the correct way of releasing dice. The reason for that is this: the energy and the forward momentum comes from the throw itself. It doesn't come from pushing the dice with your thumb. You should never push your dice with your thumb. That is wrong in so many ways. A push of the dice is potentially this number here, in the case of a hardware set. So always be careful, and always take note that the energy, the momentum that the dice should be using is this. It comes from the whole throw, from the arm, and it travels down there, and it gives you the result. There are so many exercises that people should be doing in order to get to where they should be. But the first and most important thing is this. Everybody says, please do this, repeat this. Why do they say this? There's a reason why people are saying this to you. Because you want to get to a stage where it becomes second nature to actually do this. Place your fingers on the dice and know that they're straight. For me, I haven't gotten to that position. Right now I'm using this book, and I can tell that my index finger was wrong. It was just a touch higher. So now that I know that it's better, I'm going to do my pendulum swing, which is very low, and release. Boxcars 12. So this is on axis. Primary hit. Don't know if you can see it. That's how it looks. Yes, I did have an implosion, but the dice ended up where they should. Now, this gives me confidence. If I can actually start off my set when I throw the dice the first time, I actually want to make a mistake when I throw the dice first time. I want the implosion, but I don't want it to hurt. I don't want to 7. I just want to make a mistake, because by making a mistake I know that I can correct something and it will be better the next time around. So if I make the correction after that, I want my next throw to be perfect. I'm not going to use the book now. I'm just going to throw dice out. 1, 2, 3. Ace 3 4. So I was on axis on the left, but my right exploded. Let's just give it some context. It was an ace 3 4, so the die was like so. Come on. We started like this, they rotated together, and then we got the explosion here, ace 3 4. Overall, it's not bad. It's not that detrimental to get one die off axis, unless you're using the 3V set. The 3V set has another advantage. Out of 4 double pitch results, only 2 are going to be 7s. The hard way is out of 4 double pitch results, all 4 are going to be 7s. Disadvantage in the 3V set is that single pitch may be a 7. In the case of a hard way set, single pitch is not a 7. It cannot be a 7. Because the numbers, usually people have the 6 to the left, let's say 3 5 3 5 set. I single pitch this die 6 3 6 5 6 4 6 2. I single pitch this die exactly the same. I explode this die 1 3 1 5 1 4 1 2. So basically, the single pitch does not hurt you on the hard way set. What does happen, however, is double pitch hurts you 4 ways. The other advantage of the 3V set, which is why I'm using it, I used to explode a lot. Poof, poof. That's 1 6 7 right there. And implode as well. Implode, implode. 6 1 7 right there. So by process of elimination or whatever, I chose a 3V set. It's more difficult to master, granted, but it gives you the flexibility that if you stay on axis, you have less chances of a 7. If you go off axis, then yes, fine. You have the 2 5s waiting for you, the 5 2s, the 6 1s, the 1 6. So yeah, this is grip, guys. It's very difficult to master. It's not as easy. It takes a long time to get to grips, to get to grip with it. Have to be very specific here. Have to be very specific with your middle finger being 50%. This thumb, we never talked about the thumb. The thumb has to be quite high. So let's assume we grab the dice. The thumb cannot come very low down. If it does come very low down, you have no choice but to push the dice. And if you push the dice, as we said, you're going to reveal the 6 1 7. The other reason why the the thumb has to be quite high is this. You're grabbing the dice very high up. You bring your dice right here, and what you expect to do is to do this, not with your other three fingers. What you expect to do is actually release them by a gentle thumb release. Now, imagine yourself having your thumb very low down. Everything is perfect, but the thumb is right here at the bottom. It does not release properly. And it's obviously going to be pushing the dice to get out of there. It creates a lot more contact with the dice that you actually need to have. So do your exercise. Get to grips with this thing, having your fingers straight. I do not have, there is this special contraption. I think same bet has one of these. I think it's called a dice gripper or something like that. It's good to have it, but you cannot take it at the casino. That is why you need the practice. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. That was a double pitch. 5, 2, 7. Because I pushed with my thumb. So I'm sorry, I'm not doing what I preach. I will try harder. 4, 2, 4, 2. Dice out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hard 8. So this is on-axis primary. For me, hard ways are neither here nor there. It's a novelty to actually get, the hard ways. I don't care. I'm a place better. That's what I care about. The hard ways, they carry a bigger, let's say, edge to the casino. It's a novelty bet for me, and I'm very happy hitting a 5-3-8, a 6-2-8, 2-6-8, 5-1-6, 2-4-6. They are not primary hits like so. They could be secondary hits. I don't mind them. I don't mind. As long as I keep myself on axis and not double pitching. So, this is the grip. If I go back to my template, release. Release will depend on whether you employ a spin or not in your toss, but the idea is that your thumb should be responsible for freeing the dice from your grip as opposed to the fingers at the front, which should only be used as guides of the dice to keep them in line with the toss and in uniform position during the flight in relation to each other. Okay. Now I don't know whether I could do this today. Okay, so what do we mean by that? Let's assume that having gripped your dice properly, I'm going to put them to the 2-1-2-1. All right. There's two positions you can have. You can have a position which is like so, and it helps you launch the dice without the pendulum swing. But you still need to do this at the end. Or this position, whereby you will release the dice with your thumb, with a bit of spin, and even this position where the dice are not even touching the felt. But you need to actually make sure somehow that your dice are straight to the table. There's a lot of people that use a pinky to actually control this. I bring the pinky as far inside as I can without affecting the outcome. Grip, position, always the same, by the way. My position is right here where they don't pass the D starts. Look at my landing zone. Do the pendulum swing with a kind of a rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and release. That's a 268. Right, the release part is something quite different. Depending on where you want to release, if you release too high and your fingers and your thumb is too much, too much into the die at the back, is not high up. Don't know if I can do this properly. I have to come to right. Pick up all the dice. Come back. We are at release point. This should be working to release. If you release at say a medium height, before your hand is all the way up there, then you have a better chance of the dice just taking over with a bit of a backward spin, landing straight, because there's another part to the release of the release of the dice. Let me just grab them. As they travel, your hands should always be parallel to the table. You reach a point where you're going to release. Could be here, could be here, could be, I don't know, a lot higher. But always remember that these three have to be parallel, keeping this parallel to the table, because that's going to make a difference of whether the first contact is going to be straight, whether if it was slanted, dice are going to be affected, and that is also a very difficult part to master. So, dice out. That's a 5, 6. They stayed on axis, I think, because I was on a 2, 1. So it was bam, bam. Okay, so it was a single pitch event. They stayed on axis, which was nice. They just pitched a little bit more because I believe that my middle finger, which is supposed to be evenly distributed on both dice, it was not. So we'll try it again. Dice out. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 6, 1 double pitch. One axis, but double pitch. There you are. And it should be like so, because that was a hard reset. So everything should be 7s. So I'm not saying I'm perfect. I am trying very hard to eliminate the double pitch. I'm trying very hard to keep my dice maxes. And I have the tools, and I'm sharing these tools with you. I am more convinced than before that these are the right tools, and they provide to you a reason which in my mind is reasonable as to the why your results are what they are. So the set that I use, I'm going to just rotate it for you, is the 3236. Don't know if you can see that. Blue die is the left die, 3236. So for me there is only one double pitch, actually two, 1, 2, which is either the 4-3 or the 3-4. 4-3 or 3-4. And the other two results are of course the 2-1 and the 5-6. Alright. What bothers me the most is when this happens. This or this. This hurts me the most. Because it proves to me I'm off axis and a lot of damage can happen. So this is why when I do my videos, I try so hard as one of the third objective, I would say, would be not to 7 out, not to be off axis. Sorry. The first objective obviously is never to 7 out or to limit the 7 outs. The second objective is to have as many inside hits, because this is an alignment of my strategy to the way I shoot dice. And of course the third one is to avoid as many of the off-axis results. So on the left die could be a 1 or a 6, on the right die could be a 2 or a 5. These are my nemesis. Alright, I think I said enough. Just going to review the video, and hopefully it's in good quality for me to post it out on YouTube. This is George from Cyprus. Dice out.